All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Climë session. I don't know, but we're going to call this one session 4 for the sake of. If you want to mess with these boys, you go right ahead.
Oh fuck!
It is session 4.
It is technically, I think, session 5, right?
It's
session 5 in
like,
the.
You
three
put
halves.
session 5, but
It's
I'm not
technically
sure it's
five.
session 5.
Well, it is 5 because we had
it
2
is.
halfies.
I wasn't there for one.
Oh,
Yeah.
ha, 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 ha. And Neil,
you
you think the world revolves? Neil's ego is so big.
I love how both Jake and I just didn't get it. We're like, what?
Oh, you guys!
I,
Because you left the stream and came back to shit. I was like, wait, why are you guys wrong? I had you correct, but it's because you hopped off the call and returned. I was like, I had it correct.
I shaved it off this morning.
Shaved
Again,
what off?
My beard. Shinny's
Beard.
crying.
Beard. Oh, that sad little patch that you have growing on the side of your face.
Yeah. Like the one you have on top of your head.
No, that's actually a full set of hair. Listen, whenever I get my hair cut, the hairdresser always tells me how thick I am. She always runs her fingers and goes, "Oh, you have such a thick head of hair." Oh yeah.
I don't know what to say to that.
I was catching up on chat, and I just got to the where the fuck is your beard?
Thankfully, I do have a beautiful face underneath my beard.
Where's that?
I'd say if you shaved, you'd find out, but
No, I'm afraid to know what I look like. I've seen myself clean shaven once since I was like, I think 17. So, since I was 17 or 18, I've seen myself clean shaven once.
I mean, I'm not really clean shaven. I'm just lazy clean shaven.
Wait, hold on, wait. I'm 36. Oh my God. I've had a beard for more than half of my life.
I've had a beard for a long time. I've had one for 8 years, and I don't want to shave it.
Right?
But,
oh my God.
I don't even go like your length when you trim it down.
My wife doesn't let me go down to 1 millimeter anymmer.
Scott needs to though, because like you don't get rid of the grays otherwise.
There's tweezers.
I've got this weird thing where I've got like lighter colored hair here, like really light colored hair here, and I don't know why.
It's not uncommon to have lighter colored hair in your beard or
exactly,
goatee in
right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Lighter, not gray.
No, whiter.
Yeah, that's true. It is better. Your skin breathes better. Good night, Rosen. Sleep well.
Good night, Roz.
That's true.
So so other than my beard, do I look different to you guys?
I have a few jokes that I'll make off stream.
Yeah, but no way. I bet you rock that grey beard. You know, you're just embracing the fact that you're a silver fox. Scott is like that fox that you're dragging out the trap, and it's like desperately clawing, trying to stay.
Facts. My older brother at the age of 33-ish or something like that already had pretty much it was like 80% gray beard and about 80% gray hair by 33. I am almost 36 and I've just got this little bit right here and a couple this side, and a couple little gray pieces over here, and I'm just like, yes, go good genetics. And my little brothers are both gonna go bald. Both of them are gonna go bald, and I'm like, yes.
I'm 30 and I don't see many greys in here.
Well, you have very dark hair. It's probably gonna hold out for a while. Yeah,
that was glorious.
Yeah,
I have a couple of grays.
$10 says when he starts finding grays, he dyes it. He's definitely gonna dye it.
I've never dyed my hair.
But no, I'm not saying you have dyed it. I'm saying that you're willing to dye it. Whereas I've never bleached, dyed, nothing.
Steve's planning
I'm no sellout.
I don't know. I don't know if I could dye my hair. Not that kind of person.
I know you say that. I put money on it.
It's a lot of hassle and effort. Isn't it?
No.
I see photos of me in high school when I didn't have a beard, and then it reminds me why I have a beard.
I honestly, like, I've seen pictures of me back then, and just my face and everything was so different. Because like say 18, I weighed a buck. Before I was 18, I weighed a buck 85. I did tons of sports and whatnot. But by the time I was like 20, 21 years old, I weighed 210. And I've always weighed that same weight since. So like my whole structure has changed in that time. So I'm like, I just looked different, you know? So I don't know.
get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So the secret answer to this question is that you're looking at me from a slightly higher angle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot less window right now. So this weekend, I built a desk with my friend for in here. And now I have loads more desk space.
Oh, that's awesome. That's super cool.
A custom desk. I could not have done it without him.
Yeah.
In two senses, that he had the knowledge and also all the power tools.
I have the power.
Like
Tools.
Like he had a draw saw and stuff that we brought around, got in the garage, and like made life a lot easier because you don't want to see me with a manual saw. Like you're like measure down to the millimeter. Oh God.
Wait, by manual saw you mean like a hacksaw?
Yeah, well, there's lots of different saws.
Well, yeah, but you mean like this?
Yeah.
Oh God, no, no. Yes, you definitely need like a table saw or like a certain. Oh God, yes, rip saw. Yeah. Oh God.
So I'll put a picture in Climë spoilers. You know.
You've got
So
to loop the chat
I have to what?
You can see.
in Roll20.
Oh, Roll20 chat. What about it? What does it say?
You haven't put the card.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just remind you while.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I have to say a huge thanks to my friend Jake, because I would not have made this without him.
Jake's right here. He could just say thank you to him.
Neil. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate the shout out.
Jake
Thank
was
you very much.
the.
Thank you, Neil. No need to say any more on the subject.
Jake was the inspiration for.
Are you going to stain it?
It is actually stained.
Oh, you just go with a more like a neutral,
but it's like a colorless stain.
Yeah.
What it did was bring out the grain, and it has yellowed because it's pine. It's yellowed it slightly into quite a pleasant color.
Yeah.
But no, I quite like it being lighter because the room is too. It's very small. And
I like the design.
Yeah, my friend designed it.
Yeah.
Cool, huh?
Yeah.
And so it's designed so that my right side is so that I can paint Warhammer.
Yeah, I see that.
I'd have to push all this back in my keyboard and stuff to make space. And I just turn, and there you go. And then when I start streaming, I can start streaming everything. I'm not going to start streaming, guys. Sorry, that's a lie.
That's actually pretty close to how I have my desk set up. Except I have a top shelf as well that like goes over. It's also a lot messier, so I'm not going to take a photo right now. But yeah, instead of having like the desk go around the corner, I've got another desk right there that I use. That's basically the exact same height. Much difference.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like it's a fun little design. You know what I mean? And having the higher up compute monitors is fine. It's funny enough because it looks like
that. I love it.
It looks like your eyes probably look straight at the center of your monitor, correct?
I think so. When I'm sitting up straight like this, yes, there's a slight. I might consider getting a thing so I can lower the screen ever so slightly, because when I slouch, it is a teeny bit high. But on the other hand, I shouldn't slouch.
So I have the exact opposite problem because I have my camera sitting directly above my monitor. So when I'm sitting up like this, the top of my monitor is about here to me. So that means I'm looking down at the monitor. Yeah, and that's just because the camera is right there. Yeah. These ones are higher.
Yeah, the shelf that I have for mine is adjustable, so I was able to get it to just the right height. It doesn't look like it's as steep of an angle as far as like the camera's concerned, because the screen that's got the camera on it is smaller than the screen that I normally use. So I'm perfectly like the right eye level for my actual monitor. which means I'm almost eye level for the camera.
You want to be up, like, give or take like 10-15%. You want to be staring at the center of your monitor.
Yeah.
I happen to be above it, but this just works for it because of the camera that's again right here. For me to change that, I would have to go back to the blowjob cam that I had before, where it's like that higher one looking down, where Wade just ragged on me every time, and I'm like, fine, I'll lower my screen, Wade.
You should.
Thanks, Daddy.
That's like what I'm like.
Yeah.
I used to have Amazon boxes to hold up my monitors to get them to the right height because my neck was hurting a lot.
Oy vey. All right,
Look,
so
everyone in chat's loving the BJ cam. They say it's great.
Yeah. I also do work calls on my home computer sometime. So, but then I just like lean into it. I actually raise my camera up even more on the arm, and I just and I zoom it in. I'm just kind of like, can I get a raise?
Oh.
All right. What is it? That reminds me of that. Sorry, Dresden Dolls. I don't know if you listen to that group, the Dresden Dolls. I personally love their music. And there's a line in one of the songs. It's one of my favorite lines in a song. And she says, swallowing my pride by the mouthful. And it's in reference to, work-related environments. And it's like in the song, it's a really, really good line, but it's so filthy. It's so filthy. But again, it's one of those mirror to society lines. Anyways, moving on. Back
to the consciousness, please.
Yeah. Sorry. And just so you know, it's not meant to be filthy. It's meant to be filthy, but like again, it's like #feminism kind of group, not like a bad. Anyways, back to the game. So where we were last time. As I was saying beforehand, so you guys head out, made your trek all the way outside of the gates. So you made your trek to the gate, fought Sturges, almost had a run-in with what are they called? Scrag, thank you. Did have a run-in with the warden. He was not unpleasant. He was not pleasant. He was not unpleasant. He was just very stiff, matter of fact, so on and so forth. I think we had an issue last time I used that word. But he was very stiff, matter of fact, and then moved on. So he
might benefit from the scented candle.
Oh, Dash.
I can't believe that's all it took.
Because I forgot, and literally just last night I was telling Brittany about the Goop candle, and she didn't know that was a thing. She's like, of course I knew of the company Goop. I was like, I didn't. She's like, I don't know about this candle. I was like, you should. So,
did you see that thing I posted?
Yes.
The exploding Goop candle.
Oh, it's fantastic. Anyway,
anyways, so back. So you guys made your way into the swamp, all the way over to the to where there was these statues of this kind of like old veneration of this older society, or seemingly what it was. Jake found out a ton of information about this old society. What the hell was the name of the actual group? I gotta get notes up.
Avalonia.
Avalonia, that's right, Avalonia. And these are the different, almost like two different sides of a coin for the same kind of like warriors that happen to exist there. Some more feral, having like bare hands and whatnot. Others seem to be like straight backed, marching soldiers with falxes for weapons.
They had bare hands. I love English. Well, they're druids, so they had bare hands, right?
They actually had beer hands. It's just a whole big Foster's.
No wonder they killed people.
What's up, Shaggy? Oh, Shaggy Dog. I never gave you those daddies from before. From that the thing. I gotta get you. I think it's 1,500 daddies. I have to check my DMs. Anyways. I never forgot. I just always forget.
2,500 daddies as well.
Excuse me. You get nothing. You get nothing. ever.
Excuse me?
Back to the game. So you sir, go traveling there. You see these things. You're walking around. You find out a good amount of a good deal of information about the Avalonians. A good deal of information about the Avalonians, the warrior people, kind of like remembering this stuff and finding it strange that it's here. But geographically, it makes sense with historically what you're able to kind of piece together about history. But history is one of those things where it is always written by the victor. So finding this here kind of brings to question some of the stuff that you learned when you were younger, but also pulls to light other details that you I saw rumors about and kind of like proves them to be true, at least to a degree. Anyways, it turns out some of these statues aren't statues. They're moving statues, whatever that is. And they start whooping your ass. A couple of the tag teaming over at Port Tristan, beating the living hell out of Viggo. Galen rushes to Viggo's aid, his commanding officer's aid, gets the living hell beat out of him. And in the end, you're able to just barely survive. I think one of them retreated, 3 of them destroyed. And
retreated.
Two of them retreated, 2 of them destroyed, and you were able to defeat them overall. Viggo quickly going over to try to save Galen and is successfully able to do so. Now, while you did roll to be able to successfully get back to the gate, we're supposed to be picking up with a little bit of RP that was still supposed to happen here, because you guys never RP'd about what the hell just happened, because I had to go and get ready. So, you never really RP'd about what the hell just happened here. So let's kind of like pick up where that is. And at one point in time, Tristan's going to want to go over and pick up the weapon that he literally dropped on the grounds to draw out his lance and so on. So we're going to pick up at the scene where literally you just kind of like drop the creatures. And so one of those like, what the hell was that? Oh, hold on, Galen needs my help. And you rush over to Galen and you pull out, I think like your medical kit, and you start quickly kind of patching him up.
Tools as well, I think.
Surgeon's tools came for the hour thing that happened afterwards. So kind of pull out your medical kit and quickly grabbing bandages. And it's again, like you said beforehand, it's not clean. You did the job. You patched him up, but it's not like you have the precise movements and clean job of a battlefield surgeon or a battlefield medic kind of coming over. And while Tristan is not trained in heal checks, I don't believe, Tristan has seen enough battlefield kind of like battle side aid or triage, I should say, that when he sees you going over and kind of putting it together, he sees that you're patching it up and probably doesn't notice anything off here. It's that next portion. So Tristan, you kind of like going over and standing over him. Yes. Whoa, what?
Let's not get it wrong here. It's not pretty, but it's extremely effective and well done.
I didn't say it wasn't. I said it's not pretty.
Let's just reaffirm that. All right, it's extremely effective.
Didn't he just barely make the check?
No,
he was
he nailed it.
Like that second check, he rolled like it was a DC 20 and he rolled like a 21.
No, he nailed it.
I'm good. Probably.
That's going up.
He can
20,
use
he got a
nature,
23.
So he has a plus 16.
Yep.
All right.
That was the one he couldn't fail.
I think the first one was the one he couldn't fail. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, you back to you guys. So you kind of go over there and you immediately do the triage required to get the blood stopping to keep him together before you do the actual like treating of the wounds. So after you kind of like run over there, pull out the pack, and immediately start treating him and getting it put together, you just kind of like, he'll be okay, or however you want to line it up. It's at this point in time you guys want to have like a little bit of RP of what the hell you just saw, what you just witnessed, everything that happened there, because you never got to have that moment beforehand of reacting to all of this. And poor Tesh gets to just sit there and play Monster Hunter while listening. So
Destiny, close enough.
I think Tris would, like you say, he's seen this sort of triage before on various people. So he recognizes what's going on. So he doesn't interrupt or say anything until it's done. But at the same time, while it's being done, he stays on Karok for about 5 minutes before he eventually dismounts. And horses, animals can sense agitation, and Karok is stomping. His nostrils are flaring, and you can, like, if there was not a helm on his face, there would be a peculiar expression there. But eventually he does pull himself together, and he pulls himself off his horse, and he'll take his helmet off. And he looks at his erstwhile commanding officer, and he says, "What are you?"
Oh, yeah. I knew I wanted reactions or something. Oh, yeah.
Viggo is obviously still working on Gallon. He says it'd be a lot deeper than his voice too. But he says,
"We gotta get him Voice Mod Pro."
I'm waiting for the Go XLR. All right.
Oh, that's right. That way you can be all about that bass.
Oh
yeah,
no,
that's right.
Scott, stay on target.
He just kind of gives you that answer. He's like, "I'm a parent. What are you talking about?"
I think he would gesture like with a slightly shaky hand at like claws and snout. Claws and snout. That's not Perrin.
He looks at himself for a second, sees that he's like more or less covered in kind of fur as well, and he's like,
It's Jake. It's Jake.
This. I'll explain when we get back to the gate. I have to focus on Gallon now. And he just kind of stumbles his words, and then he's quiet.
So while he's busy, can I deliver a coup de grace with my horseman's pick to the back
Oh,
of my kids?
absolutely. You just have to beat a stealth check against his. Oh, we're not doing this?
just and then ride back. The others didn't make it. No, of course not. Of course not. But I will go pick up my horseman's pick, sort of warily keeping an eye on Viggo.
Okay. So as you go to pick up your horseman's thing, your whole weapon that you had thrown on the ground, one of the things that you notice when you go to pick it up off the ground is you kind of like reach down to get it, and again, like beforehand, you had smashed the thing apart, and then just kind of dropped it on top of the rubble as I described beforehand, and then drew down the lance, which I imagine is almost like in a slot on the side, the saddle
yeah,
of the.
It would have to be.
Yeah.
It would have to be in like a sling.
Yeah, in the side of the saddle for the horse is as you go to pick it up. You can go ahead and roll me a perception check. Some things you notice automatically, other things, Okay, perfect. So with your perception check, and let me just actually, because you guys actually got luck. I have to bump. Okay, so I need to. You guys got 3 luck to start. Cool. And everything looks like it's working fine. Awesome. All right. So you guys, you go to pick it up, and one of the things that you notice as you go to pick it up, Neil, is it seems like it has a little bit of almost like a strange goop on it. A very strange seeming goopiness that seems to be on it. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, I got a bit of like swamp on it. You know what I mean? And you go to check it out, and it seems like the goop that seems to be inside this thing is whatever the statue was you fought. I guess almost kind of like a what do they call it? Cadbury egg. You know what I mean? Hard on the outside, and then on the very center, like not just like a thin layer of stone. It's a pretty thick layer of stone, but at the very center, there seems to be some sort of goopy, almost like a oozy material that happens to be inside there. You kind of pick it up. If there's any color to it or anything like that, it's too thin It's too like thin of a material because it is very much only the center of it for you to really pick up any color that comes off. So it almost seems translucent. Well, it is translucent, right? So you pick it up and you notice it's all this film slimy kind of material on it that definitely seemed to come out of the center of the stone. Actually, with your 16 perception check, when you go to pick it up and you're like, what is this? So you realize like it's on there. You can even shift around a little bit of the stone and realize the center of the stone almost has like a cavity that has that inside of it.
Can I also roll my own perception to see what he's doing?
Well, I mean, you were kind of very, very fixated on your task down here. So, because you're now doing your 1 hour of surgery on Tesh.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you rolled a perception, you have a -5. You can notice that he's picking up his weaponry or whatever, you know. But as to him investigating, he's like down a hill. There's statues between you and him, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, sir.
What's it smell like?
So if you pick it up, you kind of like bring it to like taking a whiff. Unfortunately, if it does have a smell, which it very well may, this is not the environment where you can easily pick up a subtle odor because it's a swamp. You know?
Does it taste of
It
it?
stank.
I mean, you absolutely could try to bring it, but is that something Tristan would do? Would he actually go to taste it?
I'd like to say that he'd just apply a little bit to his bare skin to see whether it's gonna like acid burn through, but no, I think he'd straight up like dip his gloved pinky finger in and
Yeah, like a tracker. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like what is this? That yeah. No, I get you. So if he goes to put it to his tongue again, it does have almost like that slight acidic kind of like burn, like alkaline kind of burn. That you would get almost one of those, like as soon as you touch the tongue, like you can imagine he practiced, like allows a little bit of saliva to build up in his mouth first. Then he presses the tongue as soon as he feels like a little bit of burning sensation. He spits like 2 or 3 times just to kind of get it out of his mouth. So he feels that like that alkaline kind of like burning inside of his mouth there, but no particular tastes that he's familiar with. It's one of those like he could just get that alkaline kind of burn that
like
Jeff
that
said
time
5
he ate
times.
soap.
Yeah. Okay. He likes washing down, Riv.
You don't get soap everywhere, right? Bars of soap. That's not everywhere. The first time you counter it, you know, that bar of soap, that looks tasty, doesn't it?
It depends on the color, but there are some bars of soap that you're like, that looks like a nice, delicious piece of fruit.
Yeah,
Look at
or
the
like
color of bluish purple.
you're like, oh my god, it looks like a bar of chocolate.
It's so soft and slick and smooth.
Stop it.
Sorry, I was thinking of some goopy soap.
Scott's horny today. I don't like it.
No. Ew.
I think it's because I shaved.
It's a nubile boy. It's onlyfans.com/nubile.
Oh,
Oh,
That is probably,
it's probably,
yeah.
I don't
probably a
want
thing.
to.
I don't know what happens if you don't type that in, or do,
Don't type
you know?
that in.
Yeah, you know.
Do not. It's a
Let's see.
trap.
Yeah, I'm not here. You do you. And so,
I think after that he would go and reassure Karok and watch the surgery.
okay. So you go over to Karok and you watch the surgery. Do you wipe the goof off on something as you make your way over? I imagine.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. You kind of like go over to a bit of stone statue, and just like wipe it. Oh, the statue. Like, I think this belongs to you, and like and then you go over and watch the rest of the surgery. At this point in time, you guys are welcome to have any more additional idle chatter. If there is anything that you would kind of discuss before hoisting him onto the back of Karok and moving on.
You would have seen him transform back as well.
Yeah, several minutes later, or whatever it is.
Okay, I think that would reassure
30
him a
minutes.
bit more.
So a couple dozen minutes later, yeah.
And he'd say, "What were those things?"
I'm not sure. After I'm finished with the surgery, I'd like to look at them. I had thought there was something else, but now I'm not sure.
Tristan would sort of glance towards his now clean hammer pick and say, I think there's something on the inside.
He kind of pauses his like what he's doing, just looks at you and says, "Inside, it's not fully rock." Continues doing what he's doing.
Like a shell, crab.
Can you have a look what's in there?
Tris would like scratch his head. I guess I could try
Just
and make his way over to one of the bodies, I guess.
Piles of rubble is more accurate. That's okay.
all right. Well, is it just rubble? There's nothing else.
Well, there's, as I said, the goop that seems to come out of cavity on the inside.
Mhm.
Yep, it's the same to the other pile of rubble that you go to as well. It's already
So
kind of
it's
like seeped down into the
rubble and goop,
grasses.
yeah.
Yep. And again, to be clear, we're talking like if this thing is stone to goop ratio, it's probably like a good like 92 to 8. You know what I mean? Percents. So it's almost completely stone with just a little bit of that goopy inside. And so you say, can you describe it? So he goes over it and he just describes it to you accurately as best as Tristan can put words together to describe. He's not exactly the most brilliant person. I mean, he is Neil. I think he hard muted his mic, but I'm just gonna mute it on Zoom as well, just in case, because he's taking a phone
So
call.
more or less, there's a cavity within the rock that probably housed this fluidy stuff.
Yes, correct. Yeah, like a small cavity, almost like in the center of it. Yeah, like the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop.
Mhm.
How many licks does it take, and so on? Yeah. Oh, is my cracky popping this back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to deal with this some other time.
All right. Well, I need Neil for the next part. So pause for a second.
Sure. Tesh, meanwhile, what are you dreaming about? Your destiny?
Yeah. See, I'm definitely not doing the exact same content over and over again to try and farm something. It's, he's doing his training in his head over and over. He's dying a lot.
Yeah. What was that movie
He's
that
got
not
a pain in his back.
what was that not so good movie with what's his name? Shorty Mick believes aliens exist on this planet. Sin? That was his
Do you
name.
mean Day After Tomorrow?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy it for reasons that are
Edge,
not
Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of
just
Tomorrow.
it's Edge of Tomorrow. That's the
Yeah.
one. Yeah, not Day
Yeah.
After Tomorrow. I enjoy it because it's
It was fun. It
based
wasn't
on,
good, but it was fun.
yeah, it's a really cool concept, and I love the design of the aliens.
Yeah. It was interesting. The hell's his name? Really,
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. There you go. I just know he's short and he believes aliens are our souls. So, go
I
ahead.
get phone calls during D&D, don't I?
That's fine. People are like, I believe this is the one time I can get a hold of Neil. He's doing absolutely nothing of importance. All right, go ahead.
All right. So Scott described to me what it was. So Viggo just yells out to you, in my bag, there's a small chest-like thing. Open it up and grab one of the vials. See if you can get any of that into it.
He would go and find this chest-like thing and open it.
Can you imagine this is
full
old?
of
It's old apothecary chest.
Is there a lot of
It's-
stuff in there?
it's his, what is it called? Portable alchemist lab.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of stuff.
A lot of
in there.
things with there's like a lot of herbs, other things. There's vials filled with different colored things, and there's some empty ones in there as well.
If you look at Tris, and you're looking at him while he's doing this, it becomes apparent after about a minute or two of looking through this portable alchemy lab, he doesn't know what a vial is. He's never encountered a glass vial before. And
yeah.
You don't make vials out of anything other than glass.
Noticing you're having a bit of trouble, he'll say, you see the different colored liquids in their container.
Right, yeah.
You see the ones with no... No. You see the one next to it, kind of down a little bit. It has nothing in it.
Yep, got it.
Yeah, that one. And take one of the stoppers to put in after you've got the stuff in there.
He takes a moment to look at it and be like, and then gets the two and will go and attempt to collect.
You would also have inside there, Neil, as things that you could use. It's almost be like almost imagine like a spoon, like a tablespoon, but more rounded with a bit of a pouring edge to it. But this is kind of thicker than that. So there's also things in there that look like a proper like a cheese or a butter knife. Not like a cheese knife because but like one of those butter knives. But you know the ones that are designed for specifically spreading. They're very like flat, so something like that you could use to almost like scoop it in. You know, little things like that inside there. Go ahead.
He'll extricate one of those and go and have a crack at getting this into the vial.
Yep. And you go over there and you do so, and it's one of those things where it is goopy, but it's not like it actively tries to hold itself together or anything like that, right? Like you can easily separate it the same way as you would any other jelly or any other goopy liquid. It's viscous and whatnot, but again, it's translucent. So because it's been sitting there for at this point in time, because of how long you sat there looking down at him and blah blah blah. It's seeping even more because even though it's very viscous, it still has enough of a drip to it that's kind of falling into. So it takes a little bit of time for you to actually scrape up enough off of the stone sitting there without getting too many particulates into it to get it kind of like clean. Why don't you go ahead and roll a dexterity check just to get like almost like a clean draw of this? Sorry.
I mean, this might be a sleight of hand.
If you have sleight of hand trained.
I'm not trained, but I'm only offering because I have a huge minus to it, and I am wearing armor. I suppose I take my gloves off.
Oh no, because you have all the time in the world, so
yeah, to just
yeah. So I mean, you get a pretty good draw.
Scott's mic doing the.
No, it was brought up in chat too. Yeah, apparently it's crackling, right. And it's something I can't fix right now, so we'll just have to deal with it. So, anyways, yeah, you are able to get a pretty darn clean sample of it. But there are little particulates and whatnot in there. It's like if you cook your eggs and you realize there's a hair in there, and you're like, I can't get it out, god damn it, or a bit of shell. You know, I say that to Neil because he's the youngest one here. He probably doesn't know how to cook eggs. I'm
a very good cook. Thank you very much.
You're British. I don't believe you. So you get a pretty decent clean sample inside the vial, pop the stopper in, and once again, I imagine scrape away the excess off of on something nearby. Go over and put it into his little. Is there any other RP you guys would have before eventually you have him patched up and ready to throw in the back of Carrick? I'm remembering the horse's name, everybody.
Yeah, good job. I'm proud of you. Horses are people too.
No, they're not. They're horses.
Wait till we meet in person. Tris would just check. Like he would ask, like, is he gonna be okay? Because he still doesn't really know at this point. Like Gallon's clearly taken a beating.
Yeah, I think so. I've had to peel away some of the crystalline stuff that he surrounds himself with. But I've managed to stop the bleeding. He's stable for now, but he will need further treatment once we get back to the gate.
Well done.
You're not looking too good yourself. I'll have a look at you when we get back.
Understood.
That's all from me.
Yep. So you guys would kind of finish up, throw Gallon on the back of Carrick, and start making your trek back. As I said at the very end of last session, we made checks that suggest that you're able to get back there with relative ease and safety. So when you go returning back to where it is that you were, and you go riding up again, there are guards out and about outside of Magadan, but let's be serious. They're not scouting out and about. There's no scout that approaches you. And even when you come through, let's say, break the tree line, you're more apt to come into view well before you break the tree line, and that's pretty damn close to where they are because of how many damn trees there are in the swamp. They do try to burn back a good bit around Magadan so that they have like an odd degree of line of sight, but you're talking like 30 meters at most. You know, that they're keeping it burned away from the walls and whatnot to the line of trees. Otherwise, that's literally what they're going to be doing all day, every day. Every additional 5 feet or a couple of meters, they want to push it back. You then have to go all around the whole facility. Yeah, too much work. Anyway, so they when you go back there, they're still actively working on the dig and whatnot. So when you come walking up and Gallon is slung over the back of the horse, and you come walking up to around where I imagine the warden is, or do you go over to the lieutenant that had assisted you prior?
First, we're going to get Gallon situated. So if the lieutenant is the first one,
It's up to you. Who you walk up to?
Who's the closest?
From angle of approach, I will literally make you decide. Ha ha! Put it on you.
The lieutenant is right near the I don't know where we come in, and I'd just say to him,
right near the gate.
Yep. And I would just say to him, we're attacked. It
was a her. So you say to the lieutenant as you go walking in, we're attacked.
Yeah.
She says, "Oh, you do not look to be in good shape. All right. You stay here. I'll speak to the warden and see if we can get you situated." And then she walks over to the warden. Again, she's not moving at a particularly expedient pace, but it's also really hot here in the swamp. Like it's very warm. It's very humid. They're wearing armor because if you don't, you're going to be bit by more mosquitoes. More, what are they called? Scrags could be a concern. You have, if anything else decides to pop up, you have to wear the armor. It's just, so they're doing that whole, they move like somebody from Louisiana. It's like, are you alive? So, yeah, so they make their way towards, over to them. They have a conversation. He looks over towards where you guys are, have a conversation, looks back towards where you guys are, nods. And then she comes back again, moving frustratingly slowly, over to where you are. And finally, she says, the warden has invited for you to be able to stay in the infirmary. I imagine
he would turn to Tristan and say, "Would you mind taking Gallon inside?"
Right away, BT. And he'll hoist Gallon in his arms, Princess Carrie.
Oh, you can actually take. It's one of those things. If you go to let him down, she'll say, "You can bring your steed into the gate well enough. It won't be able to get into the infirmary, but you could walk it near close enough, as long as it doesn't shit on the floor."
He takes Gallon off the back of Carrick and carries him in.
Okay, so to carry him in, as a reminder, there's only one way in or out, and you have to do it on the stream. So you actually have to get back onto like a little smaller boat to literally get in there. So probably good thing you left the horse behind. But they'll carry us good with this stuff anyways. So you literally go down on.
I was gonna say, as a weird note with you carrying him in, even though he looked like he was wearing a full set of armor before you like brought him in. Surprisingly, before he put the crystal armor on, surprisingly still feels very light for someone wearing as much armor as it looked like he was wearing.
Being almost looking like he's comprised of crystal. It's one of those like, oh, this crystal is hollow too.
even like his like the armor he was wearing before the crystal was all like very obviously not solid and very much parade armor for show sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, I'm aware.
I know.
So-
I'm just telling for his sake now because he's carried him in.
And this
So-
is just reinforcing the fact that steel's where it's at.
So you are carry him over to like the little boat that you need to get over into the actual gate itself. But then that little stream kind of pulls into the actual gate for you to get inside. And at one point in time, they're gonna have a little stopper in there, a spot where you can actually climb out of the boat and onto a bit of like a docking area, a little ledge. And even though there is a second gate, so the first gate opens up. This is where you would actually go to bring the boats to stop. A second gate opens up on the inside. This is where you can actually walk into. And then there's a third gate that goes into the actual main grounds that are there, but you don't go through that third gate. It's actually built into the wall because you know how thick the wall is and everything. There's a door off to the side that you're able to walk into. And it's actually the infirmary is built into a structure of the wall itself, which isn't so unusual because you want to have pretty quick access to it with the people that are coming in from the outside to have medical attention immediately. So when they hoist you up, when you hoist them up and bring them into the place, you have the lieutenant's kind of bringing you there. She's going to say, you pick a bed. I'll see to it that it's taken care of. And goes off and again has like a side chatter with people on the inside where you're kind of like seeing to him, getting him there. Eventually, somebody else would come over to start going to undress him. So they start going to clean him up because, he was out there. And one of the things that they're going to say as they look up to you is, how do you, give him a moment. How do you take this? What is this? As they tap on one of his thighs, his crystalline thighs, thick crystalline thighs.
Chris would shrug. I'm not sure it comes off.
Is this a person?
Military asset, person, all the same. Very expensive is my understanding. At least that's what my lieutenant commander said.
Let me see what I can do with this. And they go over and they actually get like almost like a fold of tools, and they're gonna come back and like start again pressing on areas and be like, it seems hard yet supple. This is strange. And they'll actually literally be like, well, we need to make sure that they're gonna be okay. And they get like a small little hammer, like they're about to start like hitting the crystal to almost like break it off. What does Tristan do?
I think maybe peels off.
Maybe not a bad idea. Gets a chisel and lifts it up.
He's
It
already
goes
got
like
holes in the back already, so
angle it, see if it can like peel off spots. Obviously, it seemed like Viggo didn't seem to struggle with this at all. He just kind of looked at it, went, huh, and just went immediately to work. But this person's a bit of a struggle. Literally lines up the chisel and does a couple of gentle taps on it, almost like it's getting started. And you hear like that tink, tink, tink. And then eventually you hear from across the way, what the bloody... It starts coming over and start accosting the person that was assisting and be like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? So on and so forth. Be like, let's not try to rip off when we don't even know what it is. It's just like more or less, again, accosting them to go get rags and whatnot to start properly cleaning. Looks at you and says, you got to sit here and watch. You got things to do. And then they kind of like see that you're also a bit injured, but only a bit, right? And they're like, shit, grab a bed.
Only a bit. Only a little bit.
Yeah.
It's only 9 HP left.
Yeah. Like 30 something.
That's right. You got the crit.
Yep. They say, grab a bed. And then they look over at the other person that's looking to aid and look back at you and says, right, you probably don't want that one working on you, do you?
Oh, my leg.
Triss will sit at the nearest bed and then shrug and say, seemed like a good idea.
You sit, spends a couple extra moments and goes, "Yeah, they have this in order," and then goes to walk away. And that person will come back and start kind of like changing out bandages that are on, not all of them on Gallon, because obviously some would be just foolish because they might be in critical spots, whatever it is, but kind of like actually properly washing down Gallon, disrobing any amount of clothing. I don't know what Gallon looks like. If he literally becomes Mr. Crystal, or if he's like Mr. Crystal wearing boots and a tunic, you know?
No, it's fully crystal from head to toe.
He's passing boots.
Some boots.
The way it works is it specifically says it encases the armor. So
What was it? For I am Puss in boots.
Full test is like, my character's cool. Stop.
The with the way it sort of works, I sort of imagine it as like almost like when it almost swaps between the crystal and the armor. So like when the crystal goes away, the armor comes back, sort of thing. I know it's probably not exactly how that works, but that's how I imagine.
It's exactly how you want it to work thematically. I mean,
cool. Okay, well there we go.
Mechanics are satisfied, thematics are yours. So
yeah.
But anyway, so the they'll go over, they'll finish like kind of washing them down, and then they'll actually start properly treating your wounds, which wasn't done prior, right? So anyways, outside, Viggo, she walks off with Tristan and Gallon, leaving you and Carrick behind. I imagine you can kind of like grab Carrick's lead or tell it stay.
Oh, did Carrick not go with Neil?
No.
I thought it did.
No.
Oh. Now, like, kind of watching them go and
Correct me if I'm wrong, actually. Do animals, are they uncomfortable around you?
No.
Oh, I thought there was a thing.
I just have bad animal handling. That's it.
Oh, I thought you had a drawback or something like that. Okay.
No.
All right, good to see you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, kind of watching them go and being in relative safety now. Before I go to the warden, I just want to try and think back to my studies because I think nobody called it out, but can I get a check to like a monster law check, that kind of thing?
Those are necessarily, it's not something that you necessarily get to have right off the bat if you don't have an understanding as to what they are. It's one of the perks that you got to have when you were one, but not necessarily everybody gets to have normally. Yeah.
All right. All right. Knowing a bit about them, then I will approach the warden.
Okay. So you go and approach the warden. So as you, it's funny, it doesn't appear over there. So as you approach the warden, you walk up to them, and they see you coming. So once you're within the last few steps or so, they'll turn to regard you, give you the slightest of head nods of acknowledgments, but don't say anything.
Viggo will do the parent salute and say, report, sir. I don't know if he gives a head nod or
yep,
whatever.
Again, ever so slight head nod to give you the go ahead. He's not being disrespectful. You're beneath him anyways, but at the same time, it's one of those you're auxiliary.
Yeah. Getting that acknowledgement from him, he says, "We made it to the area described. We were there for a little while." He gets his sketch out that he did and kind of looks at it. We were inspecting the statues in the area around there for some time before one of my company noticed one of the statues move. He called it out, and as soon as he did, they attacked. There was 4 of them. They looked to be made of stone. However, they moved very swiftly.
Mm-hmm.
They attacked us, 4 of them. We managed to destroy 2 of the creatures. The other 2 fled. They flew. They had wings and they flew. They were weakened. Our river god, Tristan, did immense damage to them. So they are heavily injured as far as stone, I guess, can be. However, afterwards, in patching up one of my companions and trying to figure out what it was that attacked us, he noticed that there was a small cavity which there appeared to be some type of viscous liquid within them. I'm going to reference my books and see if I can come to any conclusions. But the things that were there, 2 of them are dead, 2 of them have fled.
He nods and says, so half of them are destroyed. And the other half may come back to haunt us.
Possibly. I don't know what these creatures are yet. I don't know if stone can heal. I didn't know stone could bleed, if that's what you call it, either. But the area is clear for now. I don't know if there's many more of these in here. I'm not familiar. When I read about this area, the scrags and the sturges were what seemed to be reported.
Do you believe they will return back to the spot where you located them?
They seem to have an intelligence, sir. They noticed when they were called out. They seem to have been aware of our presence, maybe hoped to catch us by surprise when we were leaving. However, when they were noticed, they immediately attacked. They also know when to flee. They had the upper hand and did quite a lot of damage. However, when things turned against them, they fled. Well, 2 of them. If I was a betting man, I would think that spot is blown. I don't think they will return, especially now that half their number is gone. But I can't be certain.
Unless there are more than just 4 in total.
Has there been any more of these sites with these statues? Because that's where they seem to be able to blend in.
We found that one as it is by accident.
I see.
We don't tend to travel that far into the swamp. And you're thinking to yourself, like, it was like a mile or 2. It wasn't that bad. But you also know how dangerous the swamp is, too.
Yeah, exactly.
It just says we don't tend to travel that far into the swamp. Again, it was found by accident.
I mean, they're ambush things as well. So, like, knowing what they are is a huge deal. And that they're not going to be on the attack. They're only ever going to be on an ambush. At least I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have your questions. If you find any answers, I expect you'll share them. But as of right now, this satisfies my curiosity. Thank you for taking care of the problems so near to our walls. Nearer still, they might find themselves, but at least now we know they can be shattered by the tip of a lance or some other bludgeoning object.
Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but these the statues, when we were looking at 2 of them, some were like well worn, but these
Correct.
other ones were not.
They were worn, to be clear. They were worn as well as moss growing on them and whatnot, but far less so than the others. Yeah.
Sir, another thing. If anything is, if you do come into contact with these statues again, there is a way to differentiate, I believe, maybe to get the element of surprise on your side. The statues and these creatures, they stood the same. They looked made of stone, but they were not as worn. as the others. The others were warned by the elements, whereas these ones slightly so, although nowhere near as much. And they had very distinguishable, ferocious features.
He nods, understanding, and says, "Yes, well, I am not one to leave things to chance, because that is your opportunity to be caught off guard or defeated. Every statue we come across shall be laid to rubble. They'll all be brought down, reduced to pebbles and dust. Then we have no concerns of where they might be hiding."
Rip culture.
Yes, sir. Forgive me if I shouldn't ask this, Warden, but before I go, the dig. What are we digging?
He kind of like turns his body so that both of you guys kind of like turn to look towards where it is that they, because again, there's a double dig project. There's the one where they're actually digging out like the new stream and so on and so forth. He says, "Well, there are a few different things about Magadan that even those of us that have been stuck here for an extended period of time do not know. For instance, a building like this is going to have a strong and deep foundation, lest it would have succumbed to the swamp a long, long time ago. The architecture on the inside suggests that maybe the two levels that we exist in aren't the only two levels that exist in the within the building. Yet there are no wells down into the lower reaches. That raises curiosity. What is down and beneath? Well, that's certainly no reason to go and digging all this out just to satisfy curiosity. It's just a curiosity that exists. More than that, there is only one entrance and exit from Magadan, and it requires relatively small boats to be able to get in or out. This new project would allow us to, hopefully inside lower chambers, so we can control the flow of who or what might come in and out, to have a two-way passage. We're going to dig to have the waterways come in and then pass through and out to the other side, expediting the amount of time one may be able to, the amount of time one is forced to spend here when they're dropping off supplies and the like. The little turnaround pool we have is none too efficient, requires additional labor, that leads to accidents, and opens us up for attack outside of the walls. We wish to reduce the likelihood of any of that happening, but maintain security the whole while." He looks back at you and says, "Certainly a design, and if done correctly, a addition that one would find advantageous enough to earn some sort of merit, don't you think?"
Yes, sir.
"Perhaps maybe even merit enough to leave," he says, more to himself than to you as he stares at the dig.
He'll go to turn and he'll say, "I have some leads to follow up on. If I figure anything out, you'll be the first I let know."
He nods and looks back at you and says, "You're welcome to go inside the outer gates. However, due to recent circumstances, we're not allowing any visitors inside the actual compound. So stay in the outer gates. It's where the infirmary is. A few offices happen to exist there as well, where the he says a few siege officers happen to exist there as well. You can utilize those facilities. You look like you also got a bit roughed up in the encounter. Have the medical, he says, seek medical aid. Rest. I imagine you'll be leaving here in the next few days' time." Which, in your mind, you're like, "A few days? Oh, no."
Yeah, I'll salute him again, and I'll turn on heel to leave.
Okay. it turns and goes to go into, again, a relatively small boat. Again, it's big enough to handle like a carrack there, but not much more than that, right? To drift on into the actual the gate, or the first gate, and then the second one, which is kind of like still within the walled area, and then not through the third gate into the main foyer area. You have a degree, you weren't being led, and you have a degree of autonomy. Because of your rank here, that gives you a moment that if you wanted to, you could actually walk up to that third gate. No soldier there would let you in or anything like that, but they would give you the appropriate like nod or a salute if you actually bring your full attention to them because of your rank again. But you're welcome to kind of like peer into the inner compound if you wish to, or you just pointedly want to go in.
I mean, he was told not to go in there, not to look.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, sure, he'll approach and have a bit of a look.
Sure. So again, these are when
not
I say
overstepping bounds by any means.
Of course. And when I say gates, the first two gates very much have to be portcullises that drop beneath the surface of the water because of, XYZ, right? It's very, very obviously portcullises there, but no water flows into the third gate area, right? So because inside here is that same kind of like almost like turnaround pool that would have to exist, but much smaller, which is why you can understand that they're trying to design something that's a little bit more capable of handling throughput, right? They want to install that McDonald's drive-through. You know what I'm saying? So
this building was probably not designed for throughput, which originally would make it great for a prison until it became used a lot.
Yeah. So either way, you and also it's like isolation and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So when he said, they found those statues out there by chance, it's one of those things where why were we even out there, But either way, so you sir are going to go ahead and roll me a perception check, and then I'm going to allow you to roll knowledge history afterwards. But even if you rolled like a natty 1 base, like whatever it is, you're still going to get some knowledge because of previous stuff. And knowledge history you can roll as well.
History. Yeah, sure. I have some time, so I get a +3.
Yep.
Sweet, thanks. There's 3 on top of this. 26.
Okay. So you when you kind of like looking in there, one of the first things you notice is inside there are guards stationed up on the towers up above. But as previously described when you first arrived there are also people that are cutting back the vines that start to kind of like grow in from the outside, even though they burn back a good bit of the woods or whatever. Still some stuff because of the canopy growing in, the angles and whatnot. There would be some and they do allow some trees to exist here too, because they want the canopy to shield from anything flying overhead to easily notice the gate as well. So when you looking in there, you can see that there are still workers kind of like up on the walls doing stuff. You can also see like kind of just barely see through the another inner kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? A doorway on the inside that has its own portcullis inside of it. You can see through on the other side, there seems to be others that are sitting on the ground, seemingly in like almost like a meditative stance, sitting down there, back there, but it's hard to make out who's doing it, why. Maybe it's like training for the soldiers. You don't know because it's so far from where you are, the angling and everything, right? But you definitely see something like that inside there. You can see others being kind of like walked around on the inside, but nothing that throws you as being off because of it is a prison, right? There's a good amount of security with portcullises here and there, but other than that, again, it's a prison. This doesn't throw you off. The big thing that you get with a history check is you come to realize with the structure here, the design, the type of stone that was used, all that fun stuff, this is definitely an Avalonian city. Like, there's no doubt in your mind that this is exactly an Avalonian city. So with that being said, there's certain like parts of their kind of like design and whatnot that if you had something to cross-reference it with, you might be able to almost kind of, they were talking about what would exist down below. Honestly, if you had access to a well-supplied library or a few different libraries, you might actually even be able to find out how, just by reverse engineering their architecture and whatnot. But you don't have that on hands to be able to pull that off. Nonetheless, you're able to look about and kind of like seeing the way that this is, it's dirt laid and ground all about and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can go at this point and walk into the actual wall that has like the infirmary. And you can see that Tristan is actively being worked on. The person there is doing an active heal check. Almost, you can imagine the immediate surgery, which he didn't get beforehand. And then afterwards, he's, of course, going to be given long-term aid. When you go over there and you look at the treatment that they're giving, why don't you go ahead and roll me a heal check? And I do mean heal check.
Why's that?
Because you're looking at somebody else doing their skill very differently from how it is that you do yours.
I don't have any stuff for heal either. Okay, heal.
Which is fine. So kind of like looking it over, it's one of those things where their approach to doing this, like you've seen this kind of approach to medicine before. You think it's far less effective. It's slow. It's tedious. It's not very effective. You honestly, it's one of those things where, yeah, they've got fresh supplies. They've got clean hands. So that's a plus. But at the same time, it's... you have to make a choice yourself. Do you want to take over the suturing that you see happening to what's his name here, Tristan, or do you want to just allow Tristan to get the aid from these peoples?
They're already providing him aid. Obviously, they're already in the middle of it. We're not going to disrespect them like that in their own place. So I will let them work on him.
Okay, but seeing the quality of work and your judgment of it, you are all going to be able to spend the night here with long-term care coming your way. You could actually administer it to the two of them with relative ease. Are you going to allow the medical facilities to administer it to them, or do you want them to administer it to you?
Like I said, we're like, even though it's not as effective, obviously it is working. It's slower. It's not as effective, but I'm not going to disrespect them like that.
Cool. So they're going to come over and they're going to.
I will go and maybe advise about Gallon though, because he has the crystal suit on.
Yep.
And I can point out the work that I've already done and offer assistance if they need any.
Go ahead and roll me a sense motive. They nod along and ask questions and whatnot, and they're like, "Thank you," and they appreciate the assistance the information you give, and they'll continue to treat Gallon. Had you rolled higher than that, you would have realized they're giving you those eyes that are like, "So you want to take over?" Like, you know what you're doing here. You seem like that, you know.
Yeah.
But you that goes over your head, and so you just kind of like, attaboy. And
Viggo needs a rest as well.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap. I'd like a nice tea, a nice tea. Do you mind teabagging my cup just a few times for me? Just a few times.
Can I work on my own injuries?
You can, but there's a penalty to it. Quick question: was there a podcast this past week?
No.
Okay, there wasn't. I was like, wait, I don't remember one getting announced. I certainly haven't listened to it. So I don't think they did one this past Saturday.
Vance is busy. Don't you be putting pressure on him.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just seeing if I missed it. So
He's already missed it, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to listen to them now and everything. So, all right, Neil, just so you know, for that first aid, they're going to succeed because they have the proper facilities and whatnot to be able to pull this off. So you're going to succeed in first aid. So you're going to heal. Let's see. If you first aid, if the character has not negative health points. Sorry. Treat deadly wounds. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Treat deadly wounds. They're not going to be DC by +5. So you just heal your level and health points from treat deadly wounds. And then you guys are going to be able to get long-term care. So in case there's any RP that's going to happen with long-term care, you guys are actually going to heal instead of, providing long-term care to a wounded person for a day or more. If your heal check is successful, the patient recovers health points or abilities for damage equal to twice their normal rate, which is 2 health points per level for a full 8 hours of rest. So after full 8 hours of rest, you heal 2 health points per level. So I think that's, you level what, 3?
So 6.
Yeah.
So 6 health points. Yes.
So I heal the -3.
Yep.
I heal to -1. Would I then heal to 5 off the long-term care, or would
Correct.
Okay, good. So I'm awake.
So it's one of those things where you guys could have maybe a quick little RP with yourselves, and then I imagine the two of you are also going to enjoy a bit of rest, and then maybe like a good 4 hours later. So about 3 hours or so, or 3.5 hours after finally Viggo, sorry, comes in after Tristan does. Finally, you can see that what's his name? Still feeling like absolute shit, and definitely one of those things like. Yes, but you should get some more rest. Kind of like forced back to sleep. You can actually have Galen wakes up. So we'll handle that in a second. Any additional RP between Tristan and Viggo? As you kind of coming in, give like the head nod and look things over and speak to and then kind of like that person finishes doing what they're doing and they walk off, giving you two like a moment of peace together. Any additional RP or no?
Wait, we're left alone?
Yeah, you imagine that you're in the facility, there's beds here or whatever, but you're the only 3 people currently in the infirmary beds.
Triss would look expectantly at Viggo, but at the same time, he's still a BT. He's not going to just like demand.
Getting the look for you, he'll come and to like pull up a chair near where you're probably on a bed or whatever. And he'll say, you're a fighter. Galen is something. What my area of expertise is in alchemy. Now, normally, especially where they teach this stuff, a lot of my colleagues put this into effect in creating explosions, things that they can throw or different kind of potions they can make to enhance themselves in different ways. However, mine is a little different. I've worked out a way to enhance my body to give me much greater strength than this form allows. That is the first successful field test, though, which I'm pleased to say was a success.
So that was like not magic.
Not like the Arcane Congress. Not magic as far as science. He like raises an eyebrow at you.
So like bottled magic.
Yes. Yes. I don't have the ability to cast spells. However, I can make use of it in other ways. Like you saw. So I am a Perrin. Born a Perrin. Just with bottled magic.
I love that.
No offense was meant, Viggo, just...
No offense taken. Can you describe to me completely what I looked like?
Oh, it was disgusting. Your face had sort of elongated like a muzzle of an animal, and claws, long claws, like an owlbear, but not as impressive. But yeah, it was the
muzzle, as you've put it.
yeah. I'm not sure you should do that in front of people.
Well, I wouldn't have done it at all. I think it was, to be honest, I didn't even know it was ready. I was pinned down by a stone, and it was the only thing I had.
It was certainly not an easy fight. It was, in fact,
but you
one of
did
the
well,
toughest fights I've been in.
We would have been dead for not for you and Karok.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to help.
Well, I'd also be dead if it wasn't for Gallon. Gallon is the way he is because that thing grabbed me and pinned me down first. I didn't have time to react. I couldn't get it off, but he made it so I had a chance at risk to himself. He's a good man, Gallon, and so are you.
Thank you. Makes me wonder why we were put into this team. You can transform with your alchemies, and Gallon can transform with his crystal suit. It's a peculiar... I've not heard of any special teams like this before, anyway.
Tristan, no one's ever seen me transform before. Not even myself. I am here, I believe, because I possess vast wealth of knowledge about a lot of different things. I have a different way of thinking. You have tremendous skill in battle, and I foresee you rising quickly in the ranks. I don't know about Gallon. I guess we will learn more in time, but it is a team well thought out in the way we complement each other. I'm thankful for that.
Understood, sir.
He'll put a hand out to shake your hand.
Yeah, Trish would take it.
Thank you again, Tristan.
Just doing my job.
He'll nod.
So a few hours will pass, and in this time, the infirmary doesn't have.
Before we sleep, sorry.
No, it's not before you sleep. I was gonna have what's his
class.
fuck wake up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Just before we sleep, I need to jump in.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, imagine your characters. Maybe I say before you say before you sleep. They're coming and going and kind of like checking on you and checking out bandages and offering you like a tea or some food or whatever. The food that you eat here, it's not like so it's made out of a lot of foods that you get from the swamp. It's one of those things where you know how like kelp is can have a lot of nutrients in it, but has very little much. It leaves much to be desired. It's kind of like that where you have lots of vegetation that you're eating here, a lot of vegetables. If there's any meat that's mixed into this, it is very, very, very sparse. So it makes for one of those, like, it's a good thing I like salad, said like sarcastically as you're eating it. So imagine as you guys maybe even drift off for like a little bit of nap, like a half hour or so. Again, 4 hours later, you have what's his name? Gallon wakes up. So before even a proper 8-hour rest. So it's up to you, Jake, if you wanted to do something before this time frame, or you want to, maybe you were awake to that, because you're probably going to end up spending more than 8 hours here resting anyways. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just have an ability I need to do before I sleep.
Okay, sure. What is it?
It is this. So let's just do it now. While I probably lay down to get some sleep. First, I'm going to take something out of my alchemy lab and take it. All right. And what it allows me to do, one of the things, is lucid dream.
Ooh.
Okay.
Take this panacea within 1 hour of going to sleep. You have a lucid dream that's under your control and lasts for an hour.
That's cool.
You
This
good,
is
Scott?
interesting.
And we got to wait and see Scott's reaction. What was that? Was he doing the crying thing?
No, sorry. I was like sunshine, like talking to Rory. So she clearly got a good night's sleep, unlike me. She clearly got a good night's sleep. She looks all sunshiny. If you're a dad, you got kids, you know when your kid, just by looking at them, you know when they had good sleep and when they didn't. Excuse me, Neil. Why don't you back off? My sleep schedule is perfectly safe and healthy. Excuse me, Neil.
It's
Thank
because
you.
we care, Scott.
All right. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I knew you were doing the Penrose Panacea, sorry, which is a fun spell that has like a million different effects. Which one were you using?
Lucid Dream.
Okay, what were you having a lucid dream about?
He is going to relive the events that happened, but while it starts in his point of view, because he has perfect recall as well, recalling the environment, kind of steps to the side and is able to watch himself in a way with the reaction of the thing, pinning him down, and Gallon saving him.
Gotcha. You do a little bit of Special K before you go in and take a nap. You sit there and snorting a plate of Special K, and then you sit there, you're like, oh, hey, I don't mean to intrude there, BT, but what's that? It's nothing. It's mine. Time, children. And that's what Vid wakes up to.
Yeah, don't you leave him alone. If he wants to have a lucid dream where he watches a beast mount Gallon repeatedly, then fair play to him.
Okay, well, interesting. All right. He likes some shiny. Anyways, so
those things were rock hard.
Sorry, my snorting kind of blocked my earways.
It's important to keep moving, get things unblocked, keep things flowing.
What was I saying?
Why you're supposed to give us breaks.
We're gonna stop now.
Yeah, sorry, I yawning didn't pop into my
Rock
head.
hard and full of goop.
Okay, back to the game.
Chooses death.
Yeah. Summons a crystal and is like, went for the throat indeed. So you guys went to sorry. You eventually Gallon kind of wakes up. I mean, I imagine it's not like a start wake. I imagine, it's not like a defibrillator wake up. We're talking like kind of drifts awake.
He also has the benefit of the second he would start to wake up, Virgil would actually be able to sort of fill him in on what's been happening telepathically. So it's because Virgil would be able to sense, because they have the telepathic link, he'd be able to sense when he's starting to wake up and just sort of okay, it's okay, you're alive, that sort of thing. And then just, the first thing he would do is he would ask Virgil if there was anyone in the room other than those two. Once Virgil's informed him that he's getting healthcare,
across the way. So again, you have to imagine this is built into a wall, right? So these rooms are long and kind of narrow, right? So across the way, there's a person that is off to the side and has their own tasks that they're handling. So it's paperwork that they're doing. But otherwise, when you wake up and look about, you only see the three of you there. And when I say across the way, to be clear, Tesh, I mean like a good 30 feet away. So
yeah, but still within sight. So you can't just pop the suit off and explain it away later.
Yeah.
He would just sort of slowly rise himself up.
Though if you did ask one of them, they might be able to distract whoever this is to have it happen. But go ahead.
That's what he's going to do. He's going to slowly sit up and then just look over. Who's next to me?
I imagine the person immediately next to you would probably be I will say they're on either side of you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
he would look to either side and then just
Almost like protectively, right?
well, hello. Oh. Viggo, would you be able to convince that person across the way to leave, at least for a couple of minutes?
Viggo would stand up and walk over to the person in the room.
I imagine that at this point, what's his name would kind of like lie back down after he's kind of like sat up
Yeah,
and
he
said
would.
that,
Yeah.
like almost like, oh God, that took so much effort to continue sitting up.
Pretty.
So
pretty
as the
much,
person looks up from the paperwork, as Vigo is like more than half on the approach over, they look up and it's one of those, you just, is something I can help you with?
I was wondering if you'd be so kind if I could have the room for a moment.
They look at you and again, your officer is what? It's battle
PT.
tactician, correct?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I always forget where I keep this stuff. Kingmaker characters, yeah. So you're a battle tactician. So it's one of those funny things where this is a lieutenant tactician, because obviously an officer would be kind of handling this. This is an lit tac. And so technically they're a rank beneath you, but it's like so close. That's one of those things where they're like, is it necessary? Is this something I can help you with?
Not you personally. I have my orders. I need the room, please.
They kind of like look about and say, it's highly unusual. I do have patience here. With respect, I'd prefer to stay.
I have my orders. I don't want to have to take it to the warden. This isn't something that is within my control.
Depending on the tone you chose to say that with, that was either trying to convince or a threat. You can roll either
I was
persuasion.
trying to convince.
Okay, that's a persuasion.
I
Then.
was not threatening.
Diplomacy. My apologies.
Thank you.
It sounded like convincing is the RP, but you never know.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Nat 20.
Yeah, you see, like,
Nah.
man, my last stream, I called. Just give me a 20 right now, whatever it was. I was like,
Yeah, you crit
So
me,
good. Yeah,
bastard.
it was so good, so good. I didn't do as much as I wanted to, but it was pretty good. All right, so anyways, the 24, they kind of like look about and go, I could probably use another cup of tea anyways, or what they call tea here. Do you want one?
That'd be great, thank you.
And they get up and go to leave the room to get 2 cups of tea. Not for Tristan. Yeah.
So the second they leave the room, Galen, I assume Galen, I have a high perception. I can probably see when they leave the room.
Mm-hmm.
Galen,
You'd be able to hear it anyway.
yeah, that's true.
I was just thinking, I would love a friggin' compilation of every time I called, give me a 1 or give me a 20. All I was like, oh god, that'd be so good.
Or a PC calls it, because I've called a couple.
Yeah, just like a group of all of them from all. That would be like a million hours of footage to go through.
Oh yeah,
Really
But-
would be.
But that'd be fucking awesome because it just call the video, the little clip video call it portents. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
oh god. Anyways, go ahead.
So yeah, the second it leaves the room, the door's shut, or like there's no one inside, he'll drop the armor. Oh, thanks. That stuff's useful, but it's not the most comfortable thing to lie around in.
We don't have long with just us, Galen.
It's okay. If push comes to shove and we have to explain it, I disposed of the crystal. And if I need to apply it again, I'll need to find somewhere private where I can apply said crystal again over time. They don't need to know how.
I see.
So for now,
Viggo
as
starts
far as
opening
they can-
a bag while you're
so as far
talking
as
to
they're
try and
concerned, is disposed of it. Sorry, continue.
yeah. He'll open his bag and get like his surgical tools out, kind of thing. And if anyone asks, like, kind of providing an alibi, like, I got the crystal from you. Yeah.
And thank you, by the way. Virgil says you saved me.
Galen, you saved me at great cost and nearly your own life. It is me who owes you thanks.
I did what I had to do. One had you in its grasp, and I was worried that you wouldn't get out.
I'll never forget that, Galen.
And from what I hear, and I'll like turn to Tristan, you also performed quite impressively, according to Virgil.
Well, it was no cavalry charge, but I did what I could.
Well done, and thank you too. And then you see he's, oh, God, this hurts.
Eventually, the other person kind of comes back in and goes, hands you a cup of tea and says, "In the gods, it's off of him. It's a him. I didn't know." And it goes and says, "Oh, thank goodness we could actually change these bandages proper." And goes and gets some instruments to help out. You raise your hand.
Excuse me. Could I have a cup of tea as well, please?
Yep, down the hall, over that way.
I love this guy.
They'll go get their supplies to check on you. Neil, I believe you had 9 health points before. 9 plus 3 is 12 is where you should sit at after your initial surgery. Yep, no, you're fine. And then because you're also getting the long-term care, you're all going to heal additional 6 more on top of that. So you should actually be sitting at 18 right now after this long rest.
Oh, okay, we get that as well. Okay, cool.
Correct. Now, that was assuming you guys only wanted to do a proper 8 hours of rest. If you guys actually wanted to do the full, like, no, we're not getting up until tomorrow, like a proper, like 24 hours of rest, you'll actually get an additional 6 more each added to you. I understand that some people don't need that. Yeah. I understand some people don't need that, but that means that you can actually start going. Yeah. And that means that you could actually go and do a little bit of your own research or whatever it is. So.
Yeah.
That's actually good because I imagine what'll be interesting is Galen does like a mixture of he'll sleep, but also like there'll be times where he's clearly awake, but he's very obviously not present as he's like meditating. Either he's sitting up in the bed or he's specifically just like he wouldn't be saying anything or doing anything like that, but he's like if you call him or get his attention, he'll be like he'll snap to attention and be like, okay, what's up? But otherwise he's like he's completely out of it a lot of the time, just trying to meditate through the pain and to help speed up the healing. Doesn't do anything mechanically, but since auto hypnosis like can do stuff to like stop yourself from bleeding out, I imagine it is that sort of like if he focuses enough, he can sort of like speed up the healing or make it heal better, sort of thing. It's more of that sort of mind over body sort of thing.
So while you're kind of like doing the resting or whatever to relax, I imagine Tristan is also going to take advantage of the opportunity to just like take a little bit of sick leave. You know what I mean? To truly relax for a little bit. And this allows Viggo, who has more authority anyways, to kind of get up and...
He's got to check on Karok, though, as well.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah, poor Karok.
At what rate does Karok heal?
Everybody heals at your HD overnight unless you get properly treated, which Karok was not properly treated. But if you assume 24 hours of rest, which it has been for you, that'd be 2 times its HD, whereas you were just received 4 times. Plus, you also received another 1 times because of the surgery that you got. So you've healed 5 times in total, which is nice.
So when you say HD, you mean the number of HD he has?
Correct. Yep.
So he would heal 6 hit points, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Oh, Rory left the gate open, and now the damn cat's in here.
Yay!
Yeah.
Excuse me while I get some kerosene. 1 second.
How
Kitty.
dare?
Come here.
How
Where you going?
dare?
You literally just gave her attention, then you run away. Here. Oh, you're just gonna leave.
Did you guys see the video I posted on Twitter of the cat that like comes over and rubs on the person before he sing at them?
Yes, I did. Yeah. It's
All right,
like,
bye.
So apparently, apparently what happened is it was an old cat who had like bad sight, and they were cat sitting for it, and the owner had just left, and they'd come and lay down where the owner was. So the cat had come over to like rub the owner and be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
oh,
This cat has bad sight. She was born with one of her pupils is not fully there, and it's always been like a drippy, goopy eye.
cats actually, all of them have bad eyesight within like 30 centimeters.
No,
plus.
I
They can't
meant
see anything.
beyond that.
Yeah. But like if you go to like grab a cat or like touch a cat, often they'll flinch away because they can't see it at all. They just see a shape come towards them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fun fact, because they're designed to obviously see things with
That's why
precision
that
at distance.
thing works, where they like turn around and see the cucumber on the ground. All they see is the shape of a snake, or the shape of something like a snake. That's like, so they jump away.
I've never done that to Brat, and she's so old now. I couldn't do that. I'd feel bad.
No, don't do it to
I wouldn't do that
cats.
to my little
That's
cat.
so.
But
mean.
it's so funny.
It is funny, yeah, but I wouldn't do it to my cat.
That one I think is a little too much, because it is like activating their "I'm gonna die" reflex.
I mean, so isn't tickling activating the I'm being crawled all over by spiders reflex, but you still do it to your kid. You know what I mean? So that's fine.
I mean, it's not.
But she's old now.
I still wouldn't do it.
It would have
Especially
been
not
funny
to
if
an
she
old
was like 3, but she's 13. Like that's not nice. So I either way, and I didn't know that existed a long time ago.
That being said, I will say I laugh every time I see one of the videos of the slice of cheese just gets placed on the cat's face and the cat just turns off. It's like falls over.
It's like a cheese single, like American cheese. Like it just goes on their face and they're just like
They have no idea how to handle it, and they just
it really just
fall over.
discombobulates them entirely. Go and watch them after this. You'll enjoy it.
No, I just have to try that one.
Yeah, that one's not so bad as long as you give them some of the cheese after, but not the entire cheese single, because that's too much salt for their little kidneys.
Yeah. You don't want to hurt the poor kitties.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's just like can't eat dog food or anything like that. People are like, oh, run out of cat food, give it a little dog food. It's like it needs all these other things that dog food doesn't have.
It's like it's one of those things where like cats cannot be vegan. Full stop.
Okay.
It's not possible.
But did you see that Joe Rogan stand up about it? Hashtag vegan cats.
No,
It's
no, I didn't.
okay. So Joe Rogan,
Just post it after. Otherwise, we'll lose all our time.
Yeah,
Scott.
his podcast aside and his pushing forward anti-vax and crap aside,
make
in
it a
his,
cup
one
of
of his
tea.
stand-ups, he talks about vegan cats, and it's very funny. But anyways, let's go back to the so not the vegan cat part. What he says about the vegan cat part. Okay. So the they kind of check over you 24 hours. Jake, it's you. So you, I imagine, want to get up and actually go and investigate this goopy material or whatever it is. Is there anything else that your character is going to do while he has a bit of freedom, or?
He'll probably go back out to the dig, see how that's going.
Sure.
Not really much more than that.
Okay.
I don't have any like books on me, so I can't really research what the creature
Do
was
they
or
have a
anything like
library?
that.
I mean, he's not even allowed
They
inside
have
if I
a
do.
library.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good point. Yeah, I forgot
So
about that.
I will work on what I can though. So I'll work out with my portable alchemist lab thing. I'll work on the stuff.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and roll me an alchemy check to try to break down what this is to the best of your ability.
Oh.
Gonna let the boy roll his alchemy and
Wow.
oh.
Is that natural one?
It
That is
is.
a natural
Oh
one.
dear.
Well, it's a good thing you guys are a bunch of wimps and turned off the critical successes and failures. But unfortunately, my love, with a natural one, you have no idea what this is. You're looking at it, you can tell it's a viscous fluid. You can tell it reacts differently than pretty much anything else you would see beforehand, so on and so forth. But you are not going to be able to figure it out. Nothing seems to be here, and it's not like you can just make a check again later.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait until you're at a different facility, like you have better supplies and whatnot, assuming this thing can kind of hold between now and then anyways. So you spend hours of research on this and you walk away from it, like with most science experiments, equally or potentially more perplexed than you were walking into it, right? And as a science. So you spend a good portion of your day with that, and I imagine at one point in time, much like developers have to deal with, I just need to walk away from it for a minute. And so you kind of get up and go to stretch your legs in the beautiful outside. To see kind of like what's going on with the dig. When you go over to the dig, one of the things that you notice is that the warden is not there, at least not as of this point in time. But instead of the warden being here, and we have already discussed beforehand, he happens to be a nice hefty rank of, I think he's a battle commander, right? He's a true BC, a battle commander, so Batcom. He is what would be here instead is your his lieutenant would be the person that's kind of here, his LC. This is the same rank that Cadus was before. So this is again another commander. This is someone that's of decent rank. These two are
also the same rank as the person who gave us this mission.
Correct. Yes. So these are the two highest ranking people here. Everybody else would be beneath that. That is an officer, right? So they're kind of like overseeing the dig project. As you go to approach the area, these seem to be a bit more alert than the warden is, because they notice you from much further away, and it's kind of like give you like a nod, understanding who you are, because you're different from a good enough portion away, which might even attract you over to go kind of like investigate the site from where they are as opposed to elsewhere, right? So assuming that's the case, you go walk over and they'll actually introduce themselves to you. Female, happens to be Hobgoblin, which again, not incredibly unusual because of the proximity of where you are to a deer. Female, happens to be Hobgoblin, just unusual in the fact that this is an officer. That's a Hobgoblin, right? Especially if somebody of higher rank. And she would turn to you and say, hold on, I don't want to say a rank. I think it's Battle Centaurian, right? She says, you're Battle Centaurian Viggo, correct?
I'm not Battle Centaurian, I'm a Battle Tactician.
Battle Tactician. She nods. She says, you're a bit outside of typically where your purview would be. I assumed a higher rank. My apologies. You, what brings you all the way out here?
Our orders were to deliver the supplies and guard the dig.
Guard the dig. You doing much of that from inside your, from inside?
We did preemptive work and cleared out the problem you were having outside the gates.
Didn't notice much of a problem out there.
Well, there was one.
Oh.
Hopefully not anymore.
Hopefully indeed. So you finally come out here to do to follow your orders?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Glad to hear it. She looks down below and says, it seems as though we're going to be breaching through soon. You can actually see that they've actually dug down a good portion and are digging back like a good portion. So again, there's that top layer where they're digging down like a good third, maybe borderline half the way down, almost all the way back to where the actual stream or pool is. And then there's the area where they dug pretty friggin' far down below. And they're starting to dig that back a good bit because you have to be able to get in and out. You can see there's a good number of like ladders that are kind of like tied together with like vines from, and there's a bit of wood and everything there for people to be able to drop down the ladders and come back up and whatnot. She says, this damned project. I don't like the idea of so many ladders sitting about. I might give them ideas.
He'll nod. Doesn't really have much to add there.
Yeah, you're
he
good.
gets what she's saying, and he'll agree. Yeah.
So you're going to be a part of the breach.
Our orders are just to guard the dig, right?
We actually got
Correct.
specific orders regarding the down in the tunnels, and our orders are not. We do not have to help them with that. It's our purview of if we deem it acceptable to help them in the tunnels. Otherwise, we don't have to do that.
Oh, okay.
Good job, Tash.
Yeah, he'll say.
Galen pays
I'll have
attention on
to-
2 orders.
I'll have to speak to the warden about it. I don't believe it's part of our task, but we'll be here nonetheless. What do you expect from down there?
Honestly, not even the slightest clue. I think this whole addition is foolish, but the warden has his reasons.
Out of
Where is
curiosity,
the
how
warden?
deep is the hole? Sorry, this is just
Nope, you're perfectly fine.
Mechanic stuff.
It's going down a good 15 feet from the actual top to the actual bottom. So we're
That's
going
lot
down a
less
good
steep
bit.
than I thought it was. Okay.
No, it's going down because you're not going to be bringing massive ships in here because these are keel boats. So it's going to go down so you can drop the. Oh no, my apologies. It's actually 20 feet because you have to be able to drop down and then
That's
still
fine.
have
That's
level
still
underneath it.
within-
Yeah,
The range is what I was trying to think of.
yeah. Because you want to be able to get down to a lower level and then also have room for a hole beneath that with breathing room
Yeah.
beneath that. God forbid there's what are they called? Weeds or whatnot growing from beneath. Reeds, I should say, growing from beneath. Anyways,
I don't know what I was. I was imagining 50, 60 feet deep, and I was
No.
like, "Holy shit!"
no. Because these are keel boats going inside here. Not
Just when they said trying to get into lower levels, that's what my brain went with.
yeah.
But I guess if they've got access to the 2 levels there, then they'd only need to go 1 down. So my brain is dumb.
So no, you're good. You're good. Anyways, you said where's the warden?
Yeah.
As the warden of Magadan, you can imagine that he has many responsibilities. Overseeing the dig, he just does occasionally, but he's handling his more important ones out there, which means I get this pleasant task.
Of course, the warden will be here when it is breached, I assume.
It is his pet project. I imagine so.
So the warden is in within it. I can't go there. Correct.
Correct.
May I get a message to the warden? Would like to go through some reports with him.
You do understand I am no courier.
Yes, ma'am. Could you direct me to somebody who I'm not authorized to enter? Someone that is.
Seeming like a annoyed, disapproving parent, almost like an aunt or uncle that's just kind of a douche. I'd be like,
I'm getting that vibe.
yep. Be like, speak your message. What is it you need?
The warden asked for a report. I would like to give it to him.
Is it something that would be best written rather than spoken?
No, it might be dangerous to have it written. He looks at the prisoners.
She actually raises an eyebrow and kind of turns full on and says, "A walk," and then starts walking away from the tunnel, expecting you to follow.
Yeah, I'll follow.
What is your message?
My message is regarding the place that we are. What is known about the history of it?
Of Magadan.
Yes, ma'am.
Go on.
Well, it is my belief that this is Avalonian. He gestures around. Are you familiar with stories of the fall of Avalonia?
Sense motive.
Ooh.
Her response is, To be an officer, you need to have a wide breadth of education, but you can totally tell that she's lying. Like that is just like a response to not play her hand, but you could tell that she has no clue.
Yeah. It would be
To be a proper officer, you have to have a wide breadth of education. No. My apologies. Let me take it back one more step. She says to earn being an officer, you have to have a wide breadth of education. Pointing at the fact that she's a hobgoblin. But go ahead.
And he just says, "Of course you do. Well, you know, the creatures we fought not far from here were in ruins. I am not sure if you breach in this spot, if there may be more of them there, just waiting for who knows how long."
You believe there may be more down in the tunnels than you faced elsewhere?
I do not know. I think that the warden deserves that thought, though, and should be prepared for it.
I'll certainly deliver that message. I would hate to see it if any of our workers got injured.
He looks at her and he says, "It's not the workers I'm worried about. It's the Perrin military, yourselves, and the rest of the guards. A reduction in the guards may cause a problem with the workers."
She's underestimating.
He kind of just like.
Yep. And she gives you a smile. It seems genuine at first, saying, "Well, I do appreciate your concern for our safety. It's a good thing you're here to guard the dig site."
Oh, I mean, that is their
I'd
job.
like to declare a charge.
Why are they here?
Galen.
Hi, Royce. So,
I really want like the combat to start. And this lady to just get one shot by one of these things.
so, excuse me 1 second.
No, yeah, I think you're right to worry that there might be more of these things in the ruins because specifically, he was saying the statues that they were impersonating, like they were still looking like the stories of the Avalonian soldiers. So I would think it's not too hard to think that maybe these things were a weapon from the Avalonians or something like that.
Not only that, if these things are to have survived for so long too, I think the warden knows a lot more, obviously, than everyone else here. He probably, I'm assuming, has some idea. This is his pet project. I think he may have some idea about what is.
I'll be right back if you guys want to take a quick break, or you can keep RPing. It's up to you. Do you want to do the break?
A break's a good. Yeah. It's
Okay, cool. Why don't we take a quick break right now? I'll be right back. Okay.
I would.
Right. I'm gonna.
I'd just suggest. Triss wouldn't suggest. Yeah. Go, Scott. Go.
Okay, cool.